Alrighty, hey guys, back again. It is another live. It is Friday, and I'm already in a trade, but this is kind of like a little test trade. So what I've actually done here is I've taken a bad trade on purpose because I wanted to actually explain this to you. I tried to go on a little bit earlier. We had a power cut, so unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in this to show you guys. But essentially, what I'm trying to do here is show how kind of powerful this strategy can be, and how important the management side of things is. I should have actually closed there. We'll leave it just to play out. Um, so basically, what I'm trying to show is that yes, your winning trades are important, but I think what is more important is your ability to kind of get yourself out of the bad trades with as little injury as possible, should we say. And worst case scenario, you know what your limit is, right? So for this trade, I know that even if it goes completely against me and I never get the single opportunity to come out of this trade, that I know what my loss is, right? My loss is 2%. That's the biggest I'm going to get hit, is with a 2% loss. Now, if you are managing it properly, you can always avoid those losses. You can come out unscathed in most situations, because most trades are going to give you that at least one or two opportunities to get out, right? Uh, and this is what I want to talk about. So 2 days ago, I took a full loss, but I had 4 opportunities to get out. 2 of those would have actually ended in a profit, and another 2 would have actually been at break even. I could have got out, right? So this is kind of what I want to talk about today. If I have time later, we'll jump on and actually do a proper trade. But this is where I feel like the most power comes from this strategy. The strategy I'm trading now, and this is what I will teach once I do go into my members only group, which is a little way down the way at the moment, because we are at the moment just kind of building up some kind of momentum, going live every day, and I suppose to a certain degree trying to prove myself as a legit trader, just not someone who's jumping on the bandwagon. I have been trading for, I think, over 8 years now. I have been in and out, probably closer to 9, to be honest. So I've done it all. I've blown accounts. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to trading. So it's not just something I'm picking up on a whim and saying, hey, let's try this. I've been doing this for a long time, and I am trading with an EA on the sideline. So I have a lot of different things going on at the same time. But one thing I really wanted to start focusing on is my manual strategy, getting a strategy that I can rely on, into the future, as far into the future as, I want. Because the thing about everything else is it's good. You have good times, you have bad times, but I want, in the bad times with everything else, I want something that is consistent, right? And my goal with this is I'm going to be starting a 5%ers 100K challenge on Monday with this strategy. And you guys will actually see me trading that live. And the whole goal with that is that I want to do the whole scaling with the 5%ers. So I'm starting on 100K, and I want to take that as far as I possibly can in terms of scaling. My first target, obviously, is getting to the 500K, because my overall target is going to be about 5% per month on a funded account, right? So if I am hitting that 500K, we're looking pretty good on 5%. That is a very, very good month. You're looking at, what is that, about 25K? 1% on a 500K account is going to be 5K. 5 times that, you're looking at 25,000. And that should be fairly easy with the strategy I'm trading, and actually going fairly low on my risk as well. So you can see this is turning around. So that was my first opportunity. This was my first opportunity to get out. So this is a trade I would never take, right? Because I was so high, I needed this to retrace for a good entry. I would probably only have looked at getting into my first position around here, which was actually my third position, and then I could have worked my way down from that. So you can see this price is pushing down quite heavily. There is a chance that I hit my 2%, but I just wanted to test myself, and I wanted to use this as a kind of means of just explaining, how I am going to be moving forward. Looking for the best setup I possibly can. And I'm going to talk you through how this actually works. So I would normally have a maximum of 5 trades on at a single time. And how this would work is depending on how good I feel about the trade. If it's a good trade, I'll probably only be looking at putting in 2, 3, or 4 positions. If it's a bad trade like this, I'm going to need that fifth position to try and just, get me back to break even. So the first position, so all of these positions are considered a single trade, right? You could potentially looking at as a 2% position, broken it up into 5 different kind of take profits or exit areas, basically. So what happens is the first position, if I'm right and it goes in my direction, I'm looking for the max profit I can get, which is normally going to be, for this one would have been probably about 0.25. So that's going to be anywhere from 0.25 to 0.5%, right? And I know a lot of people are going to talk about the RR on that, but I don't look at the RR. I look at my overall win rate and the overall amount that I can make per day, right? That's all I look at. And then I look at minimizing my loss as much as I possibly can. And that's the whole thing of this strategy, right? Is it's more about management than anything else. And I feel like I could potentially go in at any point and still come back from that, right? This is, like I said, a bad trade. I should never have been in this trade. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how this goes. Can we get out of this trade? So I should have actually, as soon as I turned on, I should have been closing all my positions. That was my break even opportunity, right? So when I'm in one trade, I'm looking for the full profit. When I'm in 2 trades, I could actually look at, if I'm still feel like I'm right, I can look at coming out with a little bit more. So if I'm in 2 trades, I could look at coming out with a 0. So normally my first trade is 0.25 to 5% to 0.5%. If I'm in 2 positions, I can look at coming back 0.5 to 0.7 to 0.2, even like a full 1% coming out of that trade, right? That's how I would kind of look at that. And then when I'm into my 3rd trade, then I start going the other way. Then I'm kind of starting to think to myself, okay, I've got it wrong. I just need to come out now. And with the 3rd trade, I can still look at coming out with a small profit. Then I'm just looking at a small profit, making like a 0.1, 0.2% profit. When I'm into my 4th and 5th trade, that just becomes, we manage our way out. We've just got to get out with as little loss as possible. Ideally, we want to get out with a break even, and that's the target. What got me into kind of thinking about doing a trade like this, where I'm purposely taking a really bad trade, was yesterday's trade, where I got it wrong. So if you guys watched yesterday's live, I got it wrong, right? So I'm going to quickly show you guys that in a number of screenshots I took. So let's just have a quick look. So this was... Okay, so let me just explain this. So yesterday I was looking at buys. So I started going in on this pullback. This was my first entry up here, actually. I think I got in a little bit earlier than I probably should have. No, sorry. This was sells. It was sells. Yeah, we got in... Was this sells? Just trying to remember yesterday. No, they were buys. I think this was the previous day when I exited. These were buys, sorry. So that was the previous day's exiting. So they were buys. I was looking at buying back up. Everything in my kind of... so yesterday was I kind of initially was going in thinking that I was going to sell, and last minute I changed my mind, right? And I actually kind of got it wrong, but I managed my way out perfectly. So this is what I want to show you yesterday. So you can see that it picked up that position, picked up this position, picked up the 3rd position. And at that point, we were actually 4 positions. first, second, third, fourth position. I only had four positions open yesterday, and you can see this one now was turning around. So now I'm just looking for an area that I can potentially get out on, right? So you can see my unrealized profit now was down to negative 1.43. So I've obviously got to wait a little bit longer. Then we go to that point where we actually are now sitting on profit, and I could have closed. And this one, I was kind of feeling confident. I felt like I could squeeze a little bit more out of this, right? It then ended up turning around a bit more, came back, and then pushed up further. And at this point, I was at $3.43 on a trade that I, possibly should have been losing. And that's where I closed. So I ended up closing a trade where, for all intents and purposes, I should have lost. And I kind of felt like I got it wrong. I still ended up closing out with about $3.50, right? Which is, according to my balance, is probably close to 0.3, 0.4%. So we still ended up closing off. And I just wanted to show you that, right? So that got me thinking that, I'm feeling very good about this strategy. Is as long as I am doing my analysis right and I'm getting in at a fairly good point, I should have less stress, right? But even if I do get it wrong, I feel like I'm able to get myself out, right? And this is kind of what I'm doing now. I'm kind of testing that today. So I'm purposely taking a bad trade. Obviously, I can do this because it is a demo account. What we will do later, we will actually look at potentially getting in a fairly quick trade. So sometimes I will look at getting into quicker trades. I like using the bigger time frames. I like trading on nothing lower than the 5 minute. But maybe later we can look at, kind of getting into a quicker trade. If everything lines up and it looks good, we can do that. But I'm not promising anything. So I'll try and jump on. So just keep an eye on this stream, and I will see if I can potentially actually get, something out of that. All right. So let's just quickly jump over to. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to watch this for a little bit, see how this does go. And I do have, so the FinViz for me is still kind of giving me, Euro is coming down a little bit. So you can see Euro and USD are kind of getting a bit closer together. So, that's why this trade wasn't the best of trades. I should have probably been looking at maybe like an AUD USD. But it is what it is, right? I said that I want to go into a trade that is kind of lower potential, something that didn't really look good, or I probably wouldn't be trading if it was a live account or a funded account or a challenge, right? So that's kind of why we are where we are. And now I just want to show you how we can manage our way out. Or worst case scenario, you know what your stop is, right? So I used to trade a similar strategy before. It was an EMA strategy, which is, a good strategy, had a very high win rate. But the issue was when it lost big. So this, I'm kind of countering that. I'm saying that I'm doing something similar. I'm limiting the number of positions I go in. Some people see this as grid style trading. Yes, it is grid to a certain degree. I see it more as managing positions that help me manage my way out. So I look at this whole line of entries as a single trade, right? Based on a higher time frame analysis. I feel like price is either going up or down, and I'm just trying to get a piece of that. That's all I do, right? And all 4 or 5 positions are part of that trade idea, right? And the reason I have more positions is just because then it helps me to manage my way in and out of the trade. And my whole system uses all of those positions differently. And that's just how I trade. And from next week, like I said, we are going to be going into using a 5%ers challenge account to kind of see how we can do. So my goal with that one is to get to the funded account within a month. That's my target. And if we do get into a funded account within a month, my target then is going to be 5% per month. I'm going to see how it goes every month. Maybe initially I can try and push for the 10% because I do feel like I can get out at least 0.5% every single day, right? 0.5% to 1% every single day. So even if it's zero point 0.5, I know I can get 2.5% every week, which is essentially a 10% month, right? So that will help us grow quicker, but I'm not going to force myself into into that. I'm going to see how it goes. If I feel confident, then I will push for a 10% month. But at the moment, I'm saying that I'm going to go a little bit more kind of passive. I'm going to be looking at 5% per month, and that's how I'm going to trade it. And that's it, right? So I can hear my wife in the background. I think I have to go out. Gonna have to jump off. But what I will be doing is today I will definitely be doing a short where I'm going to be showing you what happened with this trade, if I actually got the full hit or if not. And even if I do get the full hit, it's okay because I know I can come back from this. This trade was purely just to kind of explain how I look at bad trades or how I kind of look at managing bad trades, because you're not going to get it right every day, right? Because I can tell you for sure that two different good traders can look at the same market, and one will tell you that it is a it is ready for a buy, and the other will tell you it is ready for a sell. So depending on how a trader analyzes the market, how they use whatever indicators or whatever price action they look at, two good traders could both tell you different things in terms of what they see. Is it going up or is it going down? Range. Now, can you get a trade in any of these scenarios? Yes, you can. Ranging is a little bit more difficult. Then you've got to maybe go down to the lower time frames, see if you can just get a piece of the ranging movement. If you feel like it's going up, you should be able to get a little piece of that going up. If it's going down, again, we're just looking for a small piece of that pie. And that's it. And that's as simple as I keep my trading. I'm just looking for a small piece of the pie. I'm not being greedy. I'm not gambling, because at the end of the day, I do everything that I can in terms of my analysis to try and figure out where I feel like price is most likely to go. And if I'm right, I get my full reward. If I'm wrong, I manage my way out to potentially just a break even, right? And I would say it's like a 9 out of 10 that I will either win or break even, and it'll be 1 out of 10 trades that I'm going to be hitting that full loss, right? So those are numbers that I can work with, and on a larger scale, those are numbers that are going to make me, some serious profits, and going to make me a trader that is kind of profitable long term, right? So that was what the kind of whole point of this live was. And I am going to definitely, I know I haven't been posting the shorts because I've kind of been recapping my previous day on the live, but I am definitely going to be putting a short out later on this one, because this is important. It's a very important topic, how to manage bad trades, right? We have good trades, we have bad trades, but what do you do with the bad trades? Do you just accept it, or do you try and get your way out, try and squeeze whatever you can out of even a bad trade? So that was the point of today, guys. I can't stay too long. I have promised that I'm going to jump on every day. The reason I'm doing this rather than a live trade, because I just don't have the time today to be sitting for long enough to kind of do the analysis, do the management. So I kind of did a very quick analysis, and I took a trade that I know was not a very good trade, as you can see. But then I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about management and, getting yourself out of a sticky situation. If you can do that well, I promise you, you will be a fantastic trader and you will be a profitable trader. Don't just look at the profits, guys. Look at the losses, number one, learn from your losses, and then look at how you can manage your way out of a bad decision. You've just got to sometimes accept that you got it wrong, but what can you do about that, right? That's it. All right, so I'm going to bring back the results on this trade later, so make sure you're keeping an eye on that. With that being said, guys, I will see you potentially over the weekend. I might even get into a crypto trade over the weekend. Last weekend, I hit a nice 1% profit on a crypto trade. So keep an eye out for that, because that might just come your way over the weekend. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and we will see you guys when we are next live. Again, before I go, just make sure you guys, if you are watching this, stumbling across this, like the video, please. If you do like it, subscribe if you haven't already. I know this is a small channel. I'm trading a small amount at the moment, and it's not attractive to a lot of people. But we are going to get there. We're going to be taking a challenge. We're going to be starting a 100K challenge. That challenge is kind of going to be kind of the focus of my lives. We're going to see how that goes. Essentially, you guys are going to track my progress with that challenge. And I think that'll make it a little bit more interesting, I hope, at least. So if this is something you want to jump onto, something you want to be a part of, make sure you watch, because this is very early days in everything I'm doing. So you could be one of the kind of first in line to whatever's going to happen in the future, because there's a lot of things coming. I'm going to be basically giving a lot away to some subscribers very soon. I've talked about that in terms of Titanex, in terms of the trading EA I use that has helped me get funded over $1 million in total over the last 3 years. So if you guys want to, get a piece of that, make sure you are subscribed. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Have a good weekend and all the best in your trading. Bye for now.